You just completed another test of your intuition. And so they were showing me Lassie, and it's like, you know how, I don't know, little Timmy fell down the well. Is that from Lassie? But that's why they're showing me Lassie, because Lassie would go rescue whoever fell down the well. And they're saying that your intuition is what fell down the well. And you have, over time, been rescuing these parts of your perception, of your psychic sight, and learning to trust them more. So this recent incident was a challenge to your perception. It was a situation where you had to use your discernment and things were not as they seemed on the surface, and you had to act on what you were perceiving underneath the surface that maybe other people couldn't see. And it feels like it has to do with a person or maybe a group of people, but you had to act to set boundaries and to create space and safety for this part of your consciousness and this part of your inner perception. I'm seeing that this is part of a greater story, because the reason this lesson had to come into your life, this person, is because there was a part of you and your intuition that you are not trusting to move in a certain direction. There's some sort of risk that you're being guided to take, new direction that you're being guided to move in, changing how you do things. And there's fear around taking that leap into this new direction, because it's one of those leap and the net will appear situations. It's not, I'm leaping into something that already feels safe for me to leap into. So because you need to trust your intuition to make this decision, that's the only way it's going to be made, you had to encounter this lesson to uncover this part of you that really has that deep faith and trust in your instincts. And so because it was so challenging for you to act on your perception in this situation, you had to alchemize a lot of fear around people pleasing, a lot of fear around being wrong, seeing things wrong. And you proved to yourself through this situation with this person or these people that your intuition is spot on. And it wasn't just this situation, there have been many in recent time. And so they're all accumulating into this unshakable faith that you are now holding around your intuition and around your psychic sight. And what I'm also being shown is that when you fully surrender, because it's like each lesson is one layer of surrender. So you've been surrendering and then surrendering more and then more and more. And there's a threshold point or a breaking point once you fully, completely surrender. The doubt disappears, the rumination in your mind disappears, the logic and trying to figure it out and what if this happens, all of that disappears. And all that's left is this inner knowing and this trust in the inner knowing, and also this feeling of comfort and safety and like a sigh of relief that I can just relax and be held in my inner knowing without seeing the bigger picture or seeing everything that's happening or going to happen. And so when you relax into this full surrender, you're also going to be feeling infinite abundance. Like that's where your abundance is. It's in this full surrender to your intuition, to your psychic self, to your intuitive self. What I can say now is that you can fully trust yourself at this point of surrender. 100%, you can trust what you feel inside. You have enough evidence now that you can fully trust it. Whereas before you would trust it and then you would kind of peek open an eye and be like, is it working? And then if you didn't see it working in your physical reality, you would backtrack, or you would try to do something that made you feel safer. So you would try to hang on to or cling on to safety in your external reality because you didn't fully trust yourself. But now you're moving into a place where you can move from within and you can hold that decision even before you see it taking place or you see the proof in your reality. You can just sit in that decision and hold it and sit in the comfort of your own inner knowing. This was an ancestral pattern. There was an ancestral pattern of foregoing your spiritual gifts, your psychic sight, and instead relying on the external, relying on, tangible proof. And so now that you're unblocking this, you're also inheriting gifts from your ancestors This is divine inheritance around your psychic sight and your psychic knowing. And again, this is your abundance. So it really is, for this collective, not about making money and doing all of the strategies and figuring out how to keep the cash flow coming. It is about surrendering into your knowing. And from that place, that's your garden. That's your fertile garden. And that garden can be plowed and tilled and I don't know farming metaphor or farming words, but essentially your intuition is your gold mine. This collective is learning to trust your inner knowing. With that, you are learning to trust your inner wealth. So there is this shift in consciousness now to where you understand that just sitting in the wealth that you feel is enough to earn money, to attract money into your life. So there is no more of that mental tension of how do I get it? How do I get more? How do I become financially free? How do I, all of these things. That disappears once you make this full surrender, because you are connected to this inner wealth and you can sit in it and you can know that it's drawing exactly what you need to you at all times. So this person that came in, they were in a chasing energy, and they reflected back to you your own previously chasing energy when you were in masculine distorted energy of chasing, exactly what we just talked about, ruminating, thinking about how do I get this done? How do I figure this out? They were the ultimate mirror of that energy within you, and you setting boundaries with this person and trusting your perception around this person, about this person, was like the linchpin. It was like the switch that needed to be flipped in your consciousness for you to fully shift from chasing into trusting. Not only that, but by setting boundaries with this person, you demonstrated that you are capable of creating a safe space for your inner feminine energy, for your inner intuitive, emotional, sensitive self. You demonstrated that you were willing to go to bat for your intuitive self and healing father wounds, healing wounds around the masculine not protecting you earlier in life, so that you can feel safer in your own divine masculine energy. There was so much wasted energy and time before because you were going after these things, you were chasing, you were in your chasing energy, so you were just going after things, trying to figure out what would work, wasting so much time and so much energy, that now that you are trusting and waiting for yourself to be moved into action, you have so much more free time. And that free time, I'm being shown, is for you to activate your creative self and to spend more time with your creativity and with your play. And know that it's safe to spend that time, because you will know when it's time to act. You will know when it's time to move forward with a project or whatever, what have you. But now that you also have this understanding of your inner wealth, you understand that it's not about what you do. It's the energy that you cultivate. So this time spent cultivating your creativity and playing and being in community and loving, all of that time, those are revenue generating activities as well now that you have made this shift. Your spirit team also wants you to know that the flow of money in your life was mirroring the flow of your self-trust and your own emotional safety. When you felt emotionally insecure, money stopped. When you stopped trusting yourself, money stopped. They were mirroring each other, these frequencies, these parts of your consciousness. And I feel like that was a major question lingering in your mind, was what is it that's making it stop and start and stop and start? What is the connection? What am I meant to see? This is what you've been meant to see. Also seeing that the father wound that we talked about earlier, it's related also to a feeling of being picked over, being not chosen. So when you trusted your discernment, you trusted your perception, your intuition, and you set those boundaries and you protected yourself, that was a sign to yourself, to your consciousness, that you are choosing yourself, that you are worthy of being chosen, and that you are choosing yourself. You know, at the end of Free Willy, where they free Willy, and they had to go through all these obstacles in order to get him back into the ocean. That's what you just did for this part of your consciousness, for this part of you that felt not chosen and unworthy. You've been through a bunch of different obstacles, one by one, freeing this aspect of yourself. And now you don't have to look to the outside world to prove to you that you are chosen and worthy anymore, because you've liberated this part of you. I just got a really sharp pain in my spleen. And when I looked up the spleen in spiritual associations, it's linked with, an imbalanced spleen is linked with overthinking, overworrying, being too caught up in the mind. But a balanced spleen is linked with trust. And is that not the whole theme of this reading? Like, you are shifting out of mental fog, mental worry, rumination, and fatigue into self-trust and inner knowing. And I feel also that with this, there's a lot of masculine energy coming through with this reading. And so if you're someone who has felt confused, felt fatigued about the action that you're meant to take, like you don't have enough energy to even take action, and if you do have the energy, you don't know what action to take, it's because there was too much yang energy, too much imbalanced masculine energy, overthinking, overworrying, trying to control, trying to figure it out. That was creating this tension and this confusion. And so the more that you surrender and the more that you fall into deep trust within yourself, deep knowing within yourself, that clears and purifies your masculine energy. That pure and clean masculine energy comes through like a lightning bolt. It comes through with clarity around what your next steps are, when to do them, how to do them, etc. I feel a grandfather spirit that's been helping you with this exact lesson. And I feel your grandfather saying, do not turn back. You are there. You are at the turning point. All that's needed now is for you to continue to move forward. Do not turn back. Do not look back. Close the door on the past, on what you are meant to let go of at this time, and continue forward. That's really the main message here, because you have all the power right now. You have everything that you need right now to keep going. You don't need to go back and get anything else. There's nothing that you forgot. There's nothing that you're missing. So just keep going. And when in doubt, come back to your inner knowing. You're being guided to Reiki, may be very helpful, but you keep your vibration high. Focus on something that you can do daily to raise your vibration, because that's what's going to keep you moving forward and out of the old vibrations of the past, which are going to kind of still try to claw you back. They're going to try to claw you back in. So you want to work on fortifying this new direction. And if you're needing support with this, join us in Rebirth, the membership. This is my private community where we do monthly workshops. We do bi-monthly candle workings. Yes, there's Reiki. There are all kinds of healing workshops to help you hold and raise your vibration and stay on this new path, as well as a community of people who are doing it right along with you. So the link will be down in the description.